What's up, everybody? Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another Daily Deck Tech video. This is take 2 because for some reason my microphone stopped working and I didn't notice. Fun times for me. So, I wanted to keep our Secrets at Strixhaven going. We got done with all of the Elder Dragons. Now, let's get into some of the other legends. And today we have Abigale, Poet Laureate. This deck's going to be about 130 bucks. Caveat to that is it doesn't have the pricing down for all of these Strixhaven cards yet, so this I would say at most this will end up being 150, maybe 160, but let's get into it. So we have Abigale, Poet Laureate. They're a 2/3 for 3 flying, and whenever you cast a creature spell, Abigale becomes prepared. And then the prepared spell is Heroic Stanza, Sorcery. You can put a 1/1 counter on target creature control. Simple, pretty straightforward. And today what we're going to be doing is two things. We're going to be playing a lot of creatures, which then will prepare Abigale and let us target them. Now remember, Heroic Stanza is a spell, so it does target. That's important for the second part. We're going to be playing a whole bunch of creatures that really want to be targeted. And then with that combination here, we will be able to do a lot of fun win. So let's get straight into it. First and foremost, we have our 25 creatures. Quite a few. We are going to run a bunch of these Outlast creatures. So Outlast is you tap for the cost, and then you tap the creature and put a 1/1 counter on the creature. That's Outlast. So each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it has lifelink with Absent Battle Priest. This gives you some sustain. Absent Falconer, again Outlast. Each creature you control with a 1/1 counter has flying, giving you evasion for your little dudes. We have Agent of Fates, which is Death Touch, and Heroic, which is whenever you cast a spell that targets Agent of Fates, each opponent sacrifices a creature, which is really good. If you have Agent of Fates in play, you can use your Heroic Stanza, do that to make your opponent sack creatures. A lot of our creatures here are very cheap, very low to the ground, small dudes. We have Einok Bonkin, which has Outlast, and each of your creatures will get First Strike, giving them a good amount of combat prowess, right? Giving them the ability to deal their damage first is really healthy because it will let you kill your opponent's stuff before your stuff dies. We have Ardbert, Warrior of Darkness, which is a 2/2 for 3, which is whenever you cast a white spell, you put a 1/1 counter on each legendary creature. They gain Vigilance turn, and whenever you cast a black spell, put a 1/1 counter on each legendary control, and they gain Menace until end of turn. This card is really good because if you cast, say, a Vindicate, right, which is white and black, you get to do both things, and we do have a few legendary creatures in here to benefit from those. We have Burgone, Soldier of Meletis, which is Vigilance and Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Burgone, Soldier of Meletis, put a 1/1 counter on it, and then you can tap to remove a counter to give you to let you draw a card. Card advantage is always good. We have Cosmo Grand Zenith. It's a 2/4 for 3 with cool space Atreides looking armor. And whenever you cast your second spell each turn, choose one. You can create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens, or you can put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. You're usually going to want to choose that second one. We do have Deathbringer Liege, which is 4/5. Other white creatures get +1/+1. Other black creatures get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a white spell, you can tap a creature. Whenever you cast a black spell, you may destroy target creature if it's tapped, which is really cool because if you play this prepared spell, Heroic Stanza, you can both tap and kill a creature. Pretty fun. Envoy of the Ancestors has Outlast and also gives your creatures lifelink, again, giving you that sustain, so if people do bring in some beats, you can sustain with some of your life. We also have cards in here that are going to ping yourself to draw some cards and things like that, so it's a good way of offsetting that. We have Favored Hoplite, Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Favored Hoplite, put a 1/1 counter on it, prevent all damage that would be its turn. We have Felisa, Fang of Silverquill. She's a 3/2 for 4 with flying and mentor, and then whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, create X tapped 2/1 black inkling creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of counters that it had on it. We have Haggard Constrictor, enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. Each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it has Menace, which, more evasion. Informed Inkrite, Vigilance, and then Repartee, which is the new ability for Silverquill, which is Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature, that's the pretext for all of Repartee. You can then create a 1/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Look, it made a little inkling burb. We have Killian, Ink Duelist, which is a 2/2 for 2, lifelink, menace, and spells you cast that target a creature cost 2 less. Now, this will make heroic stanza only cost 1, which is pretty nice. It also lets some of our other spells cost 2. We have Lotho. So whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, so it can happen multiple times in a turn, you lose 1 life, create a treasure token. We have Melancholic Poet, Repartee. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery that targets a creature, each opponent loses 1, and you gain 1. We have American Nightblade, Outlast, and this Outlast is Death Touch, which is in a way evasion, because a lot of people are not going to want to block things with their important stuff when you have a bunch of these little dudes coming in with 1/1 counters, especially if you have some of these like inkling tokens and things like that, and you dump a counter or 2 on them and then swing in for that, or have blockers. Nobody's going to want to swing in and lose their big dude. We have Metastic Evangel, the guy that always says looks like Moon Knight. He's a 3/1 for 2, and whenever a non-token creature battlefield under your proliferate. And this is really important because say you play Lotho here, and Lotho enters the battlefield. It prepares your Abigale. You can then, you know, if you already have stuff with counters on it, you have Metastic. The downside is that this is a sorcery, so you cannot do it an instant. Wish it were. If it were an instant, you can stack these appropriately, but you can't. But this will let you still prepare, and then this proliferates what you already have and gets you set up for turn. Monastery Mentor, prowess whenever you cast a creature spell, you get a monk. Phalanx Leader. This makes me always want to say monk. Phalanx Leader, heroic whenever you cast a spell that targets Phalanx Leader. Put a 1/1 counter on all of your creatures. We have Scolding Administrator, Menace, Repartee, which will let you put a 1/1 counter on this creature, and when this dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target creature. We have Snooping Page with Repartee. It makes it so it can't be blocked, and then whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and lose a life, so more card advantage. We have Stirring Hope Singer, flying and lifelink and Repartee, which will let you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. This card seems really, really strong, friends. I don't know what it'll end up be for a price, but this card seems very strong. We have Tormented Hero. It enters the battlefield tapped. Heroic, whenever you cast a spell that targets Tormented Hero, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. You gain life equal to life lost this way. So if you do that, each opponent loses 1. You gain. Yathan Tomb Guard with some really sick art. I love the combination of the purple and black. Has Menace, and whenever a creature you control with a counter on it deals combat damage to the player, you draw a card and lose 1. This does trigger for each creature you have that does this. So say you get in with 5 creatures, you'll lose 5 life, and you will draw 5 cards. This is why we lifelink frame. Sorceries. For our big boom effects, we have ourselves Avatar's Wrath. Choose up to 1 target creature, then airbend all other creatures. This actually isn't bad. You can have Abigale in play, say you need to save some of your stuff. And this, it also has until your next turn, your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands, exile, Wrath. So you can reset your board if you need to. If you know that your opponent's going to be resetting the board. We have Blot Out the Sun. Create X tapped 2/1 inkling creature tokens with flying. If it's 6 or more, destroy all non-creature. I also get this card. This card's art is incredibly similar to Ink Shield, and I get the 2 cards confused. We have Dam in here, so you can destroy target creature, which would activate a whole bunch of our creatures, or you can overload it into a Wrath. We have Damning Verdict, which destroys all creatures without counters on it. Decorum Dissertation. This is a new card for 5, and it has target player draws 2 cards and loses life. So, a Sign in Blood for 5, and that's, you're like, oh, that's terrible. But it has Paradigm, a new ability from the Secrets of Strixhaven, which says, then exile the spell. So once it resolves, you exile it. After you first resolve a spell with this name, so its first one resolves, You may cast a copy of it from exile without paying its mana cost at the beginning of each of your first main phases. So every turn, you get a Sign in Blood. Again, this is why we have our lifelink. This is definitely a fixed version of Epic, a very old mechanic from Kamigawa that was on a bunch of very big spells, some of them okay, most of them not, that would say once you cast a spell, you can cast no other spells for the rest. But it would copy itself every like upkeep. Yeah, I tried playing with the Epic spells a lot in the early. Didn't work out well. We have Homestead Courage, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It gains Vigilance, and you can flash it back for 1. Very easy way to target your stuff. Honor, put a 1/1 counter on target creature and draw a card. So, it replaces it. Practiced Offense, we have for 3. Sorcery, put a 1/1 counter on each creature target player controls. Target creature gains your choice of Double Strike or... So not only can you put counters on all of your dudes, but then you can target one of your dudes that puts counters on all dudes, and you can flash it back too. It's great. Sign in Blood here. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Then we have ourselves a smorgasbord of instants. We're going to be combining a lot of different stuff today. We are going to have a lot of targeted removals. So we have Anguished Unmaking, exiled non-permanent, you lose life. De-Spark, exile permanent mana value 4 or greater. Generous Gift is a removal spell. We have Fracture, which destroys an artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. We have Path to Exile, of course. We have Swords to Plowshares in here. What else do we have? We have Whispers of the Dross. Target creature gets -1/-1 till proliferate. We have Vanishing Verse, which is exile a monocolored permanent. We have Silver Quill Charm, which can put counters on a target creature, which of course triggers our targeted stuff. We have Exile target creature with power 2 or less, and each opponent loses 3 and you gain 3. So pretty good there. We also have a bunch of other spells in here. So we have Feign Death. So if until end of turn, target creature gains if this creature would die, return to the battlefield tapped with a 1 counter. We have Flare of Fortitude, making all of our stuff indestructible and making it so our life total can't change and giving permanents hexproof until turn. We have Harsh Annotation. Oh yes, this is also a removal spell. This is just like Stroke of Midnight, but better. Because it's for 1 less. Destroys target creature's controller, gets all black ink. Line. We have Interjection. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains first strike until end of turn. Masterful Flourish. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains Indestructible. Oblivion's Hunger. Target creature you control gains Indestructible until end of turn. Draw a card if that creature has a 1/1 counter on it, which is good. We have Rapier Wit. Tap target creature. If it's your turn, put a stun counter on it and draw a card. Restoration Magic. Tiered, so like you can pay extra for it. So Cure, target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible for 0. Cura, target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible, and you gain 3. And Kuraka, which is permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn and 6 life. We have Sajiri Shelter, target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Shelter, target creature you control gets a protection from a color, and you get to draw a card. Show of Confidence is when you cast a spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. You may choose new targets. It's Storm without saying Storm-ish. It's instant and sorcery Storm, right? Stormcast. So put a 1/1 counter on target creature, it gains Vigilance. So cast a bunch of your like little dorky things, right? And then cast this. And then we have ourselves we already went over these. Never mind. Then we have our artifacts. We have 3. We have Bantu's Monument. Black spells cost 1 less. Whenever you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses 1, you gain 1. Oketras. White creature spells cost 1 less. And whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token. I did not realize, by the way, how expensive these monuments were. I don't know why they're expensive, but I have about 50 of each of these that I just like opened when I opened a bunch of Amonkhet. And I just don't understand why these uncommons are this expensive. I really don't. They should be like $2 at most. We have Cloud Key. Name a card type, artifact, creature. Sorcery. Those cost less for you. Enchantments. We have one of my least favorite cards in Magic, but it is good in this deck, which is Cathar's Crusade. Whenever a creature you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. This is Dice Simulator. Have your spreadsheets ready, friends. We have Felidar Retreat, so landfall whenever a land you control enters, you can either make a beast or put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Those vigilance. Again, Dice Simulator. But since there's already creatures that we have that are going to be doing Dice Simulator, you know, And then we have Graduation Day with Repartee, which is, you know, whenever you cast the spell that targets a creature, put a 1/1 counter on target creature control. We have Noble Heritage. Commander creatures you don't have. When this creature enters the battlefield, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each player may put 2 1/1 counters on a creature they control. For each opponent who does, you gain protection from that player until your next turn. Then we have our lands. We have Abandoned Air Temple, which you can tap to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. We have Karn's Bastion, which is Proliferate. Rogue's Passage, so we can sneak somebody through. And we have Sussur Secundi, Void Altar, which is, of course, sack a creature to draw cards equal to its power using sorcery. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you want to see your commander made into a deck tech, drop that in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you're thinking of the old Strixhaven here. I think the set looks very strong. I think they put a lot of power into the set, which actually has me confused because Lorwyn didn't feel super powerful, and that was very heavily anticipated by a lot of old Magic players. This set seems to have an order of magnitude more power in it than Lorwyn. Just wonder why it wasn't balanced out more sets. But as always, I'm Weston Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Just kidding. I forgot, because I'm forgetful, that we are doing our opening hand. So here's our first opening hand. You know, we have Plains, we have Caves of Koilos, we have Rogue's Passage. We play through a couple turns here. So we drop down, we're going to drop down this command tower we just drew, right, for our first turn. You know, we go to our next turn. We go ahead and drop our Caves of Koilos. And you know what? We just passed turn again. Turn. We're going to play a Plains. We're going to play Abigale. Abigale is a very non-threatening commander, so I don't think it's going to have a whole lot of problems. Like, next turn, we're going to play Rogue's Passage. And we're going to play the Stirring Hope Singer. Okay? So this is prepared now. We have 1 mana of it. Turn. We'll play a Swamp, and we'll play Bantu's Monument, leaving us with 2 left, which is fine because now we are set up. All right, new. Here we go. We got Swamp, Plains. This is a 2-land hand, which is a little tricky, but we'll try. Oh, sorry, got to draw a card. Then next turn, Bedded Heath. We'll drop ourselves down a Heritage. Drop a Swamp. We'll drop our Abigale. We'll drop our Stirring Hope Singer. Abigale becomes prepared. We probably put some counters on our Abigale, to be honest with you. And then next turn. So we have plenty of stuff to target our stuff with. We can drop our Monastery Mentor, and then we can start doing fun things. And one more. We have way too many lands. But too many isn't that bad. We can play Myriad Landscape tapped, you know, on our first, on our second turn. I always forget to draw the Swamp. We don't really have to fast play it. And then the next turn, and we'll do that at the end of pop this. We'll search for 2 where we've got our stuff online, ramped, and then we'll be able to start playing. But yeah, now let me know what you think in the comments down below. As always, I'm Lester with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a